Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time on Doctor Who we had Thin Ice, where the Doctor and Bill were in 1814 London, and they had to figure out why the TARDIS brought them there. And the reason the TARDIS brought them there was because there was a creature living under the frozen Thames who was basically being fed humans by this one a-hole, and then it pooped, and then the poop was being used for fuel because it burned longer and hotter than coal, and the Doctor and Bill freed it. Yeah. But it was a really good episode. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. So you may have noticed the past two reactions that we did. The reactions have not been in the episodes. Well, I don't exactly know what's going on, but copyright has seemed to have gotten a lot stricter recently. Like, really, really strict. Like, I try to post anything, and it will be immediately blocked, and I try to re-edit it, and that just does not work. So who knows as to what's going on? It's YouTube, so no one knows. But yeah. I don't know if this is going to be a continuing thing or not, but luckily we do have a way around it, as you have noticed from the last two episodes. So, it's entirely possible that this episode will go up without a hitch, and if that's the case, then the normal reaction is going to start right here in a few seconds. But if that's not the case, and I actually had to take out the reaction out of this video, then that means you're going to have to head down in the description or to the pinned comment, click on the link that's down there, if there is a link down there again. If there is a link down there, click on it. That will take you over to the reaction. There's also another link in the description, basically just another version of... it's like nothing different. It's the exact same video file, but it's just on a different site if you would prefer Google Drive over Dailymotion, which I can understand that if that's true. But yeah, go down, watch the reaction. Again, it's just one click away. That's it. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to, nothing else. You can watch it just like any normal reaction where, I'm sitting here for about 10 minutes. It's all edited. There's footage in the corner and stuff like that. You can watch it. You can hopefully have a good time. And when you're done with that, I do highly encourage you to come back to this video for the discussion on this episode. But again, it's entirely possible that this episode will go up without a hitch. So yeah, let's figure out which one ended up happening as we get started with this episode of Doctor Who. Here we go. Alrighty, that's episode 4. That was a good episode. I like that. Definitely. It's very interesting getting, Bill's friends, because there's a part of me that's like, I kind of want to keep them. Honestly, I kind of want to keep them as kind of companions. They were kind of reminding me a bit of, Mickey or even a bit of Danny, just maybe better. Well, I don't know. It depends on how you view Mickey and Danny. But yeah, I actually really like them. So that was a crazy twist that it's like, oh, he's your son. Oh, okay, I didn't see that one coming. I don't know. It seems it's almost so weird. Just trying to imagine pretending to be the father of your mother. It's just kind of weird. But I'm glad they figured that out too. I'm glad they figured that out. So, oh boy. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get into the notes on this one. The first thing I wrote down was housing. So again, this was a very interesting setup, I've enjoyed that actually the past couple companions now, I guess, we have kind of focused on their life. What is their life outside of the TARDIS? It's we get our adventures and everything, but it's I do like how they establish okay, what does a companion do when they're not with the Doctor? because, you know, early on we didn't really have a lot of that. Like, you know, Rose or Martha or Donna, you know, they were always on the TARDIS. They never really went home. And then Amy and Rory, they kind of, like, Amy and Rory was obviously the back and forth, you know, which went all the way to their ending, whereas, like, you know, they couldn't decide between, you know, staying at home or staying with the Doctor, and so they kind of, you know, did the whole back and forth. But then I liked with Clara, and what now seems to be continuing with Bill, is that the companions do have a normal life outside of the Doctor. And, you know, Clara, you know, originally she was, you know, a nanny, and then she became a teacher, and that was sort of her thing. And now Bill is a student, so I really do like that. So I guess, yeah, so that also means that Bill is enrolling as a complete student, you know, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, that was really, really cool to see. Just, like, you know, we're starting like, oh, yeah, here's Bill's life outside of the TARDIS, you know? And so that was pretty cool. I like that. Just her and a bunch of her mates, I guess. And then, you know, yeah, it's like, it is funny that it's like, okay, there's like 6 people here, and they still can barely afford a closet, you know? Like, now granted, again, they are students, you know, none of them, you know, like, let's just go by Bill. Bill makes fries. Or chips, I guess. Yeah, although, did she... Wait a minute. In the first episode, did she call them fries, or did she call them chips? I assume she called them chips, but I don't remember now. Oh, I don't remember. I would assume she said chips, because that's what everyone in Britain land says. They don't say French fries, they say chips. Which is weird, because for us, we have chips, like a potato chip, but we just call it a chip, you know? But then you guys call that crisps. And then we don't call anything crisps, because why would we do that? It's entirely too long to say that. Crisps. It's like there's like 8 vowels in there. There's not. I meant to say 8 syllables, but I said vowels anyway. But yeah. Ooh, that's an interesting. My words are very good today, apparently. I have words. I have the best words. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. Whatever. Anyway. But yeah, you know, it makes sense that they can't really afford anywhere, because it's like, oh, there's 6 of them. They're still students, you know? Like, they're going to be lucky if they, you know, don't have a huge amount of debt after they get out of school, you know? Oy. So, yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe one of them is, you know, even if they have jobs, again, you know, like Bill, you know, she's just like a fry cook, technically. But she, you know, she's making chips. Maybe other than, who knows? Maybe, you know, one of them's trying to do something on YouTube, you know? Who knows? Like that makes a lot of money, you know? Like, who would actually think that they could, you know, just go and try to make money on YouTube? That's just ridiculous. No. I'm just being a little coy about that. Anyway, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, you know, them going to find housing leads to the whole setup for this episode, where they are taken into this really, really creepy place. And it's like, yeah, no wonder the Doctor is suspicious, you know? Like, I think, honestly, like, when he saw the house, he was like, wait, six students are affording this? And she was like, oh, yeah, well, you know, it's just, you know, creaky, and it's got a bit of a draft, but yeah, you know, it seems to be all right. And then I think that's when he was like, a draft? And he was like, wait a minute. Huh. That's when he started. Like, I do honestly think there's a bit of a separation between when he first saw the house and then when he thought something was suspicious, you know? So I like that. It's interesting that they went with Granddad for the Doctor, which, yeah, you know, he'd rather just be Dad, you know? Well, because that was the thing too, was that for Clara, again, you know, going back to series 8, you know, when Danny learned about the Doctor and everything, and he was like, your dad, You space dad. That's my best Danny impression. I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, and then in this one, Bill's just like, oh yeah, granddad, and you could just tell he's just like, granddad, excuse you, you know. So that was really funny. And of course, you know, it's hilarious because I'm, you know, along with watching modern Doctor Who, we're also watching classic Doctor Who on the channel, and you know, we're close to the end of the first Doctor's era, but you know, that started off with, you know, a good chunk of it being, you know, the Doctor and his granddaughter Susan, you know, and then, you know, they pick up companions like Vicky, or now we have Dodo, and it's like, it's honestly like, yeah, they are sort of his new granddaughters, you know. So I just think that's really funny. Bill saying, it's like, oh, granddad, you know? So, yeah. So that was really funny. The landlord, creepy. That guy, he kind of actually looked familiar. Wonder if I could... Let's see. What is it? David Suchet. Suchet? Suchet. I don't know. No, I don't recognize him. He did kind of look familiar, but I don't recognize him, so oh well. Anyway. But yeah, he was definitely a really good villain. I liked him, you know, and really great, like, he was such a great actor too, because especially in those scenes where it's like, you know, after they reveal it's like, oh, he's the son and he did all this to protect his mother. And when he's starting to get emotional and stuff, like, he is honestly acting like, you know, an old kid. You know, like, okay, this is a guy who has never been out of the house in, you know, 70 years. And he's never been out of the house in 70 years. And so he hasn't interacted with the world. He's honestly just a kid, you know? And yes, you know, he has the part down enough to play a landlord. But at the same time, you know, he does, you know, when he starts sort of breaking down, he honestly was very, you know, he sort of had a kid mentality about him, you know? It's like, oh, no, we need to just destroy them and, you know, stay alive and stuff like that. It's like, that honestly, it felt pretty genuine, you know? So he was a really good actor. I really liked him. Yeah. The tower, I wrote that down where it's like, oh, don't go in the tower. And we learn later why, because that's where Eliza is being kept. I can't hear the name Eliza without thinking of Hamilton now. Like, it completely ruined the name Eliza for me. It not ruined because it was really good in Hamilton, but still, you know, like, I'm not saying... I don't know. I just always think about that. That's just something that popped up. Anyway. Let's see. So yeah. I also like, you know, the first time where they're like, oh, something's in the closet or whatever, and it's like, oh, geez. I thought, like, okay, you know, you obviously know they're going to open the door and it's going to be the Doctor rattling around in there. I like that it's like, yeah, you know, you think like, oh, he's, you know, they're gonna think, oh, he's, you know, kind of weird and stuff. Like, I like that it's like, no, he can really just play off that he is a concerned grandfather, you know? Like, I really did enjoy that. He just sort of fit right back into their dynamic, just as the concerned grandfather. So it's also interesting. None of them question at all that he is her grandfather, you know? Which, you know, obviously it's entirely possible, you know, it's entirely feasible, you know, to have the two of them be related, but I just think it's interesting, like, none of them questioned it, so that was pretty cool. I also like the one guy who was, like, he was trying to, I guess, sort of flirt with Bill. I thought that was kind of funny. And then, you know, obviously, you know, we're all sitting here like, okay, man, you gotta tone it down, you don't know, she's not into guys, you know, it's like, we all know. But I like that it's like, just after she's like, oh, you know, I'm more into girls, and he's just like, well, okay, well, never mind, sorry, never mind. Like, I like that it's just over. Just immediately, it's like, oh well, sorry about that. Sorry, I was sort of coming on to you. I didn't know. Like it was just there, done. Of course, then he started getting eaten. So, trapped in the wood. That was interesting. Yeah, that was really interesting. Trapping them all in the house so that the house could eat them. I really like that. Now the one girl got out. I imagine she must have been claustrophobic because, to some degree, because she was like freaking out about not being trapped. It's like, no, I can't be trapped. I can't be trapped. And she got out of there, and of course, obviously, she was absorbed outside anyway. But yeah, I thought that was also pretty interesting. And then yeah, we had the bugs. Now they were calling them lice, but didn't he say dryads at one point? Yeah, so I don't know. It's dryads, lice. They ended up calling them lice anyway, so whatever. But they were very interesting, when there's the whole thing about, like, oh, wood and stuff, like, I started flashing back to the library with, the forests and the Vashta Nerada, but it wasn't like that. Because they would just completely eat something. They wouldn't, absorb it into the wood. Of course, also, when things started getting, like, when people were getting absorbed into the wood, and I was like, oh man, it's almost like this house is alive. And I was like sitting here like, what was the name of the house in the Chimes of Midnight? What was it? What was it? And I was like, Edward Grove. It was Edward Grove, wasn't it? I don't have it in this notebook. I think it'd be in my other notebook. But yeah, Edward Grove is alive. I did remember that. God, it's been almost a year since we listened to that audio. I might listen to it. I think I might listen to it again this Christmas. That was fun. I liked it. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah. So the bugs were pretty interesting. I liked. What was the other guy's name? The one guy that was like with the doctor. Harry. Was it Harry? Does it say Harry or Henry? It says Harry. All right. It's a little hard to see. Harry. The guy who was with the doctor for a little while. I actually really liked him. He was he was figuring some stuff out. He was finding some things. Like, I actually really enjoyed him. I was like, you know what? Of this entire group, if we're going to take just one of you to a different world, I would take that guy. Like, he could honestly be a really solid companion, like, with Bill. So I really liked him. And then, yeah, we had all the stuff about the tenants, that the house basically just eats the tenants, and nobody has, like, linked it back. Like, hey, there's all these, like, there's no one like, even like Lestrade who would be like, linking all these things to, I've been rewatching Sherlock, so that's just what popped into my head. But like, no one like looking at these like, oh, all these people went missing, and they all happened to go missing after they, came into here. But I guess, from what they said, like it sounds like they don't really do it that often, Like they made it sound like, well, they did it now. They're doing it now. The last time they did it was 1997, and then the time before that was in the 1970s. And it's like, well, wait, do you wait 20 years before? Like, does it take 20 years to need to take more energy? Like, I don't know. That was really interesting. I also like when the guy's saying, like, oh, well, Doctor, you're older, you don't have as much energy, but still, they'll take you all the same. It's like, well, first off, he's 2,000 years old. Second off, it does make me wonder, like, if they got a hold of his regeneration energy, like, what would that do? I don't know. I wonder if they could. That'd be kind of interesting, I guess it might sort of be like when the Daleks started taking his regeneration energy. Yeah. And then, yeah, we had Eliza. That was a good effect on, I assume that's all makeup that they did, considering that, like, the Weeping Angels are all, like, people in makeup. I would assume that that's also the case for her, that was all just makeup on her, which was pretty cool. It does remind me, well, first off, it reminded me of the Doctor and the Widow, and the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, where there was also, like, the wood people, but also, honestly, going all the way back to episode 2, End of the World, yeah, they had wood people there too. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. And then again, the twist with the, it's like, oh, it's the sun, because I was thinking, I was sitting here thinking like, okay, well, wait, this guy has been taking care of her for 70 years. And it's like, well, wait, how are they preserving him? You know? How are they preserving him? Especially because it's like, okay, well, if he is her father. So I like that Bill brings that up, you know? Bill, you know, honestly, you know, we've always said the companion is the audience surrogate. So yeah, that was really cool that it's like, you know, I was thinking that, and then she was thinking that, and she said it, and that's how the doctor figured it out. And I also it's like, why didn't the doctor think of that? Because he honestly forgets how short human lifespans are, you know? So that was pretty cool. And then I like that we got everyone out. I was really worried. I was like, they might not all get out, you know? A kid died last episode. Kid got eaten by a giant serpent thing, you know? I was like, they might not be able to... But they all got out, which I was really glad for. Especially because I do honestly want a couple more episodes, like, where it's just, like, the entire gang, you know? Like, I honestly think that could be really cool. At least Harry. I liked Harry. He could honestly be a companion. So, yeah. And then, at the end, we had the thing with the vault. So, it's clear that there's someone in there. Now, as I was editing the last episode, I noticed, you know, the thing is knocking, and, you know, Nardol's, like, you know, running away, and it's knocking 3 times, but then I did notice that right before it cut to, you know, next time, it goes knock, 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 knock next time. You're like, they snuck in a 4th knock at next time, and I was sitting here, like, as I heard that while I was editing, I was like, wait, are they trying to be clever? I was like, wait, is it the Master? I don't know. I don't know how, but maybe it could be. That'd be very interesting, you know? That'd be very, very interesting. But we at least know it's a person now, so it's a person, and obviously this vault is Gallifreyan because of, like, all the writing and stuff on it. You know, all the symbols and stuff that's on the doors. But it's interesting. So it's not just that they're trapped in there, but the doctor does also come in and talk to them and stuff, and gives them some stuff, you know, like the piano. So it's interesting that this vault is not soundproof, though. Like, they can clearly hear a piano through that vault door. And I assume, you know, this is some sort of, like, Gallifreyan vault, so... You know, it's not that, there's just a room that they're locked in. It's like, no, this is like kind of like a TARDIS that they're locked in, like a Time Lord prison, you know? Maybe like the Genesis arc in Doomsday. So, yeah. So, what's in there? We'll have to find out. We will have to find out someday. But I did, when I was editing last episode, I did notice those 4 knocks at the end. So, I'm wondering if that's supposed to be like a subtle hint that it could be the Master. Or it's a red herring. It could honestly be that. That could have honestly been, you know, Moffat or whoever, you know, was doing the sound on this being like, hey, let's sneak in a 4th knock just to throw some people off. Could be that. We'll have to see. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Another great episode, and I'm very curious to see where we are going next time. So with that all being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Doctor Who reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure to hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description.